For over 2,000 years, humanity has been searching for Atlantis. The legendary island that vanished into the sea in a single night has become a symbol of a lost civilization. Some consider it a myth invented by Plato, while others see it as historical reality. But why does this story still captivate the imagination of millions? Atlantis was first mentioned by the ancient Greek philosopher Plato in his dialogues Timaeus and Critias. He described a powerful maritime kingdom located beyond the Pillars of Hercules, what we now call the Strait of Gibraltar. Its inhabitants possessed incredible knowledge and power, but their pride ultimately led to their downfall. Plato describes Atlantis as a society with a high level of science, art, and technology. It was a land of temples, palaces, canals, and ports. At its center stood a magnificent temple of Poseidon with a giant statue surrounded by concentric rings of water and land. According to Plato, Atlantis possessed a massive fleet and army. It conquered nations, threatened both Europe and even Africa. But the Athenians stood firm, and it was then that the gods decided to punish Atlantis by destroying it. Plato writes, "In a single day and night of misfortune, Atlantis disappeared into the depths of the sea. Earthquakes, eruptions, tsunamis, the catastrophe wiped the civilization off the face of the earth." But did it really happen? Could Atlantis have been just a myth? For Plato, it was a way to show how pride leads to downfall. But too many details in his description resemble real places. That's why scholars have been searching for its traces for centuries. Where was Atlantis? Some search near Gibraltar, others in the Mediterranean Sea. There are theories about the Caribbean, even Antarctica. Each new hypothesis sparks dozens of debates and fresh investigations. One of the most popular theories is the island of Santorini. Around 1600 BCE, a volcanic eruption occurred there, destroying the Minoan civilization. Fire, ash, tsunami. It resembles Plato's catastrophe. But was this Atlantis? Another hypothesis takes us into the Atlantic Ocean itself. Strange underwater structures have been found here, resembling roads and walls. Researchers say these may be natural formations, but supporters of the theory are convinced these are the remains of Atlantis. Some researchers believe that Atlantis had a connection with ancient Egypt. Plato himself claimed he heard the story from Egyptian priests. They spoke of a kingdom lost to the sea, which existed thousands of years before the pharaohs. Perhaps it was from the Atlanteans that Egypt inherited some of its knowledge. There is a theory that Atlantis could have been located closer to America. The first explorers, upon discovering the continent, found among the Native Americans legends about a great island that disappeared into the sea. Some tribal drawings resembled the rings of canals described by Plato in Atlantis. One of the most exotic theories links Atlantis with Antarctica. Supporters believe that this continent was once free of ice and could have been home to an advanced civilization. When the climate changed, the continent became covered with ice, and Atlantis disappeared forever. Some historians consider Atlantis to be a generalized image of all the lost civilizations of the Stone Age. We know about Mohenjo-Daro, the Maya, the Minoans. Why couldn't there have been another civilization whose memory has survived only in legends? Modern archaeologists conduct underwater explorations. In the Atlantic Ocean, near the Bahamas, strange structures resembling roads and stairs have been found. in the Mediterranean Sea, remains of ancient cities that could have been part of the prototype of Atlantis. Atlantis has always been on the boundary between science and myth. For some, it is a fairy tale. For others, a historical mystery. Writers, occultists, even science fiction authors have created their own theories, and each generation has had its own version of Atlantis. Perhaps Atlantis never physically existed, but its story is an allegory about pride and catastrophe, a civilization that exceeded its limits and lost harmony with nature was destroyed. This is a warning still relevant today. Thanks to the legend of Atlantis, hundreds of books, films, and even scientific expeditions have emerged. From Jules Verne to modern documentaries, this story continues to inspire and captivate millions. Atlantis symbolizes lost knowledge. Even if it never existed literally, the very idea reminds us that there may be mysteries in the past we have yet to uncover, and humanity will always strive to reclaim that loss. Whether Atlantis truly existed or remains just a legend is an open question. But one thing is undeniable. The myth of Atlantis has lived for over 2,000 years, and perhaps we will still learn more about the world that vanished beneath the waves.